Yehu anointed king of Israel. Chapter 9. The prophet Elisha summoned a man from the company of the prophets and said to him, "Turn your cloak into your belt. Take this flask of olive oil with you and go to the Ramoth Gilead. When you get there, look for Yehu son of Yehoshaphat, the son of Nimsi. Go to him, get him away from his companions, and take him into the inner room. Then take the flask and pour in the oil on his head and declare, 'This is what the Lord says. I anoint you king of Israel. Then open the doors and run. Don't delay.' So the young man prophet went to Ramoth Gilead. When he arrived, he found the army officers sitting together. 'I have a message for you, commanders,' he said. 'For which of us?' asked Yehu. 'For you, commander,' he replied. Yehu got away and went into the house. Then the prophet poured the oil on Yehu's head and declared, 'This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I anoint you king of the Lord's people Israel. You are to destroy the house of Ahab, you masters, and I will avenge the blood of my servant, the prophets, and the blood of all the Lord's servants said by Isabel. The whole house of Ahab will perish. I will cut off from Ahab every last male in Israel, slave or free. I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasa son of Ahijah. As for Isabel, dogs will devour her on the plot of ground and Israel, and no one will bury her.' Then he opened the door and ran. When Yehu went out to his parlor of officers, one of them asked him, 'Is everything all right? Why did this maniac come to you?' 'You know the man and the sort of things he says,' Yehu replied. 'That's not true,' they said. 'Tell us.' Yehu said, 'Here is what he told me. This is what the Lord says. I anoint you king of Israel.' They quickly took their cloaks and spread them under him on the bare steps. Then they blew the triumph and shouted, 'Yehu is king.' Yehu kills Yoram and Ahaziah. So Yehu son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimsi, conspired against Yoram. Now Yoram and all Israel had been defending Ramoth Gilead against Hazael, king of Aram. But King Yoram had returned to Israel to recover from the wounds the Arameans had inflicted on him in the battle with Hazael, king of Aram. Yehu said, 'If you desire to make me king, don't let anyone sleep out of the city to go and tell the news in Israel.' Then he got into his chariot and rode to Israel, because Yoram was resting there, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, had gone down to see him. When the lookout standing on the tower in Israel saw Yehu's troops approaching, he called out, 'I see some troops coming. Get a horseman,' Yoram ordered. 'Send him to meet them and ask, "Do you come in peace?"' The horseman rode over to meet Yehu and said, 'This is what the king says. Do you come in peace?' 'What do you have to do with peace?' Yehu replied, 'Following behind me.' The lookout reported, 'The messenger has reached them, but he isn't coming back.' So the king sent out a second horseman. When he came to them, he said, 'This is what the king says. Do you come in peace?' Yehu replied, 'What do you have to do with peace, following behind me?' The lookout reported, 'He has reached them, but he isn't coming back either.' The diving is like that of Yehu son of Nimsi. He drives like a maniac. 'Hitch up my chariot,' Yoram ordered, and when it was hitched up, Yoram king of Israel and Ahaziah king of Judah rode out each in his own chariot to meet Yehu. They met him at the plot of ground that had belonged to Naboth the Israelites. When Yoram saw Yehu, he asked, 'Have you come in peace, Yehu?' 'How can there be peace?' Yehu replied. 'As long as all the idolatry and witchcraft of your mother Isabel around. Yoram turned about and fled, calling out to Ahijah, treachery, Ahijah. Then Yehu drew his bow and shot Yoram between the shoulders. The arrows pierced his heart and he slammed down in his chariot. Yehu said to Bidkar, his chariot officer, pick him up and throw him on the field that belonged to Naboth, the Israelites. Remember how you and I were riding together in chariots behind Ahab his father when the Lord spoke this prosperously against him. Yesterday I saw the blood of Naboth and the blood of his son, declares the Lord, and I will surely make you pay for it on each plot of ground, declares the Lord. Now then, pick him up and throw him on that plot, in accordance with the word of the Lord. When Ahaziah, king of Judah, saw what had happened, he fled the Lord to Beth Hagan. Yehu chased him, shouted to kill him too. They wounded him in his chariot on the way up to Gor near Ebelim. But he escaped to Megiddo and died there. His servant took him by chariot to Jerusalem and buried him with his ancestors in the city of David. In the 11th year of Joram, son of Ahaziah, had become king of Judah. Isabel killed. Then Yehu went to Israel. When Isabel heard about it, she put on eye makeup, arranged her and hair, and looked out the window. As Yehu entered the gates, she asked, "Have you come in peace, you Zimri, your mothers, or of your master?" He looked at the widows and called out, "Who is on my side? Who?" 2 or 3 eunuchs looked down at him. "Threw her down," Yehu said. So they threw her down, and some of her blood spilled the water and the horses as they trampled her on the food. Yehu went in and ate and drank. "Take care of that cursed woman," he said, "and bury her, for she was a king's daughter." But when they went out to bury her, they found nothing except her skull, her feet, and her hands. They went back and told Yehu, who said, "This is the word of the Lord that he spoke through his servant Eliah the Tishbite. On the plot of ground at Israel, dogs will devour Isabel's place. Isabel's body will be like dung on the ground in the plot at Israel, so that no one will be able to say, 'This is Isabel.'" Second Kings chapter 10. Ahab's family killed. Now there were in Samaria 7 sons of the house of Ahab. So Yehu wrote to the letters and sent them to Samaria, to the officials of Israel, to the elders, and to the guardian of Ahab's children. He said, "You have your master's sons with you, and you have chariot and horses, fortify the city, and weapons. Now as soon as this letter reaches you, choose the best and most worthy of your master's son and set him on his father's throne. Then fight for your master's house." But they were terrified and said, If 2 kings could not resist him, how can we?" So the palace administrator, the city governor, the elders, and the guardians sent this message to Yehu. "We are your servant, and we will do anything you say. We will not appoint anyone as king. You do whatever you think best." Then Yehu wrote to them a second letter, saying, "If you are on my side and will obey me, take the heads of your master's son and come to me in Israel by this time tomorrow." Now the royal princes, 70 of them, were with the leading men of the city, who were leading them. When the letter arrived, these men took the prince success and slaughtered all 17 of them. They put their heads in baskets and sent them to Jehu in Israel. When the messengers arrived, he said, he told Jehu, they have brought the heads of the princes. Then Jehu ordered to put them in 2 piles at the entrance of the city gate until morning. The next morning, Jehu went out. He stood before all the people and said, "You are innocent. It was I who conspired against my master and killed him. But who killed all these? Know then that a word the Lord has spoken against the house of Ahab. Repent, the Lord has done what he announced through his servant Eliah." So Jehu killed everyone in Jerusalem, Israel, who remained of the house of Ahab, as well as all his family. Him no survivor. Jehu then set out and went down Samaria at Beth Eked of Samaria at Beth Act of the Shepherd. He met some relatives of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and asked them, "Who are you?" They said, "We are relatives of Ahaziah, and we have come down to greet the families of the king and of the king's mother. Take them alive," he ordered. So they took them alive and slaughtered them by the well of Beth again, 42 of them. He left no survivor. After he left there, he came up Yonadab, son of Legam, who was on his way to meet him. Jehu greeted him and said, "Are you in accordance with me as I am with you?" "I am Yehonadab." "I am Yehonadab," answered. "If so," said Jehu, "give me your hand." So he did, and Jehu helped him up into the chariot. Jehu said, "Come up with me and see my zeal for the Lord." Then he had him ride along in chariot. When Jehu came to Samaria, he killed all who were left there of Ahab's family. He destroyed them according to the word of the Lord spoken to Eliah, servant of Baal, killed. Then Jehu brought all the people together and said to them, "Ahab served Baal a little, Jehu will serve him much. Now summon all the prophets of Baal, all his servants and all his priests. See that no one is missing, because I am going to hold a great sacrifice for Baal. Anyone who fails to come in will no longer live." But Jehu was acting deceptively in order to destroy the servants of the Baal. Jehu said, "Call on assembly in honor of Baal." So they proclaimed it. Then he sent the word throughout Israel, and all the servants of Baal came. Not one stayed away, and they crowded into the temple of Baal until it was full from one end to the other. And Jehu said to the keeper of the wall, until it was full from one end to the other. And Jehu said to keeper of the wardrobe, "Bring loaves for all the servants of Baal." So he brought out loaves for them. Then Jehu and Yehonadab, son of Legam, went into the temple of Baal. Jehu said to the servant of Baal, "Look around and see that no one who serves the Lord is here with you, only servants of Baal." So they went into the make sacrifice and burnt offering. Now Jehu had posted 8 men outside with this warning: "If one of you rests outside with this morning, if one of As soon as Jehu had finished making the burnt offering, he ordered the guards and the officers, "Go and kill them. Let no one escape." So they cut them down with the sword. The guards and the officers threw the bodies out and then entered in the of the temple of Baal. They brought the sacred stone out of the temple of Baal and burned it. They demolished the sacred stone of Baal and tore down the temple of Baal, and the people have used it for latrine to this day. So Yahweh destroyed Baal worship in Israel. However, he did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit the worship of the king Cubs at Baal and then the Lord said to Yahweh, because you have done well in accomplishing what is right in my eyes, and have done to the house of Ahab all I had in mind to do you. Your descendant will sit on the throne of Israel to the first generation. Yet Yehu was not carefully to keep sins of Jeroboam, which he had caused Israel to commit. In those days, the Lord began to reduce the size of Israel. Hazael overpowered the Israelites throughout their territory, east of the Jordan, in all the land of Gilead, the region of Gad, Reuben, and Manasseh, from Aroer by the Arnon gorge through Gilead to Basan. As for the other event of Yahweh's reign, all he did and all his achievements they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. Yahweh rested with his ancestors and was buried in Samaria, and Jehoahaz his son succeeded him as king. The time that Yahweh reigned over Israel in Samaria was 28 years. Second King chapter 11. Athaliah and Joash. When Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she proceeded to destroy the whole royal family. But Jehoshaphat, the daughter of King Jehoram and the sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, son of Ahaziah, and stole him away from among the royal princes who were about to murder him. She put him and his nurses in a bedroom to hide him from Athaliah. So he was not killed. He remained hidden within his nurses at the temple of the Lord for 6 years, while Athaliah ruled the land. In the 7th year, Jehoiada sent for the commanders of units of 100, the chariots and the guards, and had them brought to him at the temple of the Lord. He made a covenant with them and put them on the oath at the temple of the Lord. Then he showed them the king's son. He commanded them, saying, "This is what you are to do. You who are in the 3 companies that are going to duty on the Sabbath. Third of you guarding the royal palace, a third at the sur gate, and the third at the gate behind the guard, who take turns guarding temple. And you who are in the other 2 companies that normally go off Sabbath duty are all to guard the temple for the king. Station yourselves around the king, each of you with a weapon in hand. Anyone who approaches your ranks is to be put to death. Stay close to the king wherever he goes." The commanders of units of 100 did just as Jehoiada the priest ordered. Each one took his men, those who were going on duty on the Sabbath and those who were going off duty, and came to Jehoiada the priest. Then he gave the commanders the spears and the shields that he had belonging to King David and that were in the temple of the Lord. The guards, each with a weapon in hand, stationed themselves around the king, near the altar and the temple, from the south side to the north side of the temple. Jehoiada brought out the king's son and put the crown on him. He presented him with a copy of the covenant and proclaimed him king. They anointed him, and the people clapped their hands and shouted, "Long live the king!" When Athaliah heard the noise made by the gods and the people, she went to the people at the temple of the Lord. She looked, and there was the king stand by the pillar as the custom was. The officers and the trumpeters were beside the king, and all the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets. Then Adalian tore her robes and called out, Treason, treason. Yoada the priest ordered the commanders of the unit of the 100 who were in charge of the troops, bring her out between the ranks and put to the sword anyone who follows her. For the priest and had said she must not be put to death in the temple of the Lord. So they seized her as she reached the place where the horses entered the place ground, and there she was put to death. Jehoiada then made a covenant between the Lord and the king and the people that they would be the Lord's people. He also made a covenant between the king and the people. All the people of the land went to the temple of the Baal and tore it down. They smashed the altars and the idols to pieces and killed Matan, the priest of Baal, in front of the altars. Then Yoada the priest posted the guard at the temple of the Lord. He took with him the commanders of the 100, the Caritis, the guards, and all the people of the land, and together they brought the king down from the temple of the Lord and went into the place, entering by way of the gate of the gods. The king then took his place on the royal throne. All the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was calm because Adalian has been slain with the sword at the palace. Joas was 7 years old when he began to reign. Second Kings chapter 12. Joas repairs the temple. Chapter 12. In the 7th year of the Yehu, Joas became a king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 40 years. His mother's name was Sibia. She was from Beersheba. Joas did know what was right in the eyes of the Lord. All the years Jehoiada the priest instructed him. The high priest, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifice and burn incense there. Joas said to the priest, collect all the money that is brought as a sacred offering to the temple of the Lord. The money collected in the census, the money received from personal vows, and the money brought voluntarily to the temple. Let every priest receive the money from one of the treasurers, then use it to repair whatever damage is found in the temple. But by the 23rd year of King Joas the priest still had not repaired the temple. Therefore King Joas summoned Jehoiada the priest and the other priests and asked them, why aren't you repairing the damage done to the temple? Take no more money from your treasurers, but hand it over for repairing the temple. The priests argued that they would not collect any more money from the people and that they would not repair the temple themselves. Joada the priest took a chest and bored a hole in its lid. He placed it beside the altar on the right side as one enters the temples of the Lord. The priest who guarded the entrance put into the chest all the money that was brought to the temple of the Lord. Whenever they saw that there was a large amount of money in the chest, the royal secretary and the high priest came, counted the money that had been brought into the temple of the Lord, and put it into bags. When the amount had been determined, they gave the money to the man appointed to supervise on the temple. With it they paid those who worked on the temple of the Lord, the carpenters and builders, the masons and the stone cutters. They purchased the timber and the blocks of dressed stone for the repair of the temple of the Lord, and met all the other aspects of restoring the temples. The money brought into the temple was not spent for making silver basins with wick trimmers, sprinkled bowl, trumpets, or any other articles of gold or silver for the temple of the Lord. It was paid to the workers who used it to repair the temple. They did not require an accounting from those to whom they gave the money to pay the workers because they acted with completely honesty. The money from the guilt offerings and the sin offerings was not brought into the temple of the Lord. It belongs to the priest. About this time, Hazael, king of Aram, went up and attacked Gath and captured it. Then he turned to attack Jerusalem. But Joash, king of Judah, took all the sacred objects dedicated by his priests, Jehoiada, Jehoram, and Ahaziah, the kings of Judah, and the gifts himself had dedicated, and all the good gold found in the treasury of the temple of the Lord and of the royal palace, and he sent them to Hazael, king of Israel, uh, from Israel. As for the other of the reign of Joash and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? His officials conspired against him and assassinated him in Beth Miller on the road down to Silla. The officials who murdered him were Josaphat, son of Simez, and Jehoshaphat, son of Shomer. The officer was murdered. Him were Josaphat, son of Simez, and Josaphat, son of Shomer. He died and was buried with his estate in the city of David, and Amizah, his son, succeeded him as king. Jehoahaz, king of Israel. In the 23rd years of Joash of Ahaziah, king of Judah, Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, became king of Israel in Samaria, and he reigned 17 years. He did evil the eyes of the Lord by following the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit, and he could not did not turn away from them. So the Lord's anger burned against Israel, and for a long time he kept them under the power of Hazael, king of Aram, and Ben-Hadad his son. Then Joash sought the Lord's favor, and the Lord listened to him. For he saw how severely the king of Aram was oppressing Israel. The Lord provided a deliverer for Israel, and they escaped from the power of Aram. So the Israel lived in their own homes as they had before, but they did not turn away from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, which he had caused Israel to commit. They continued in them. Also the Asherah pole remained standing in Samaria. Nothing had been left of the army of Joash except 50 horsemen, 10 chariots, and 10,000 foot soldiers, for the king of Aram had destroyed the rest and made them like the dust at threshing time. As for the other event of the reign of Joash, all he did and his achievements are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. Joash rested with his ancestors and was buried in Samaria, and Joash his son succeeded him as king. Joash, king of Israel, in the 37th years of Joash, king of Judah, Joash, son of Joash, became king of Israel in Samaria, and he reigned 16 years. Joash, king of Israel, he did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and did not turn away from any of the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. He continued in them. As for the other event of the reign of Joash, all he did and his achievement, including his war against Messiah, king of Judah, are not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. Joash rested with his ancestors, and Jeroboam succeeded him on the throne. Joash was buried in Samaria with the king of Israel. Now Elisha had been suffering from the illness from which he died. Joash, the king of Israel, went down to see him and wept over him. my father, he cried, the chariot and horsemen of Israel. Elisha said, get a bow and some arrows, and he did so. Take the bow in your hand, he said to the king of Israel. When he had taken it, Elisha put his hand on the king's hand. Open the east window, he said, and open it and shoot. Elisha said, and he shot the Lord's arrow of victory, the arrow of victory over Alam. Elisha declared, you will completely destroy the Alami at Aphek. Then he said, take the arrows, and the king took them. Elisha told him, strike the ground. He struck in 3 times and stopped. The man of God was angry with him and said, you should have struck the ground 5 or 6 times, then you would have defeated Alam and completely destroyed but now you will defeat it only 3 times. Elisha died and was buried. Now Moab's raiders used to enter the country every spring. Once while some Israelites were burying a man, suddenly they saw a band of raiders, so they threw the man's body into Elisha's tomb. When the body touched Elisha's bone, the man came to life and stood up on his feet. Hazael king of Aram oppressed Israel throughout the reign of Jehoahaz, but the Lord was gracious to them and had compassion and showed concern for them because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. To his day, he has been unwilling to destroy them or banish them from his presence. Hazael king of Aram died, and Ben-Hadad his son succeeded him as king. Then Joas, son of Joas, captured from Ben-Hadad, son of Hazael, the towns he had been taken in battle from his father Joas. 3 times Joas defeated him, and so he recovered the Israelite town. Amaziah, king of Judah. In the 2nd years of Joas, son of Joas, king of Israel, Amaziah, son of Joas, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 29 years. His mother's name was Joiada. She was from Jerusalem. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, but not as his father David had done. In everything, he followed the example of his father Joas. The high priest, however, were not immoved. The people continued to offer sacrifice and burn incense there. After the kingdom was firmly in his grasp, he executed the officers who had murdered his father the king. Yet he did not put the children of the ancestors to death, in accordance with what is written in the book of the law of Moses, where the Lord commands parents are not to be put to death for their children. No children put to death for their parents, each will die for their own sin. He was the one who defeated 10,000 Edomites in the valley of Salt and captured Selah in battle, calling in it Yokkile. The name it has to this. Then Amaziah sent a messenger to Jehoahaz, son of Jehoahaz, the son of Jehu, king of Israel, with the challenge. Come, let us face each other in battle. But Joas, king of Israel, replied to the Amaziah, king of thirsty in Lebanon, sent a message to Oseda in Lebanon, give your daughter to my son in marriage. Then a wild beast in Lebanon came along and tempered the thirst on the food. You have indeed defeated Edom, and now you are arrogant. Glory in your victory, but stay at home. Why ask for trouble and cause your own downfall and that of Judah also? Amaziah, however, would not listen to Joas, king of Israel, attacked. He had Amaziah, king of Judah, faced each other at Semas in Judah. Judah was looted by Israel, and every man fled to his son. Joas, king of Israel, captured Amazing, king of Judah, the son of Joas, the son of was king of Israel captured away king of Judah, the son of Joas, the son of Amaziah, at best Samuel. Then Joas went to Jerusalem and broke down all of Jerusalem from the Ephraim gate to the corner gate, a section of 400 cubits long. He took all the gold and the silver and all the articles found in the temple of the Lord and in the treasures of the royal palace. He also took hostage and returned to Samaria. As for the other event of the reign of Joas, what he did in his responded English war against Amaziah, king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? Joas rested with his excellence and was the pure instances where they with Samaria with the king. Uh, uh, and Yoram his son, not son exceeded him. Amaziah, son of Yoram, king of Judah, lived for 15 years after the death of Joas, son of Joahaz, king of Israel. As for the other event of the Ahaziah's reigns, are they not written in the books of the annals of the king of Israel? They conspired against him in Jerusalem, and he fell to lies, but they sent men after him to Lachish and killed him there. He was brought back by horse and was buried in Jerusalem with his ancestors in the city of David. Then all the people of Judah took Azariah, who was 16 years old, and made him king in place of his father Amaziah. He was the one who rebuilt Elas and restored it to Judah. Jehoram, the second king of Israel, in the 15th years of Amaziah, son of Joas, king of Judah, Jeroboam, son of Joas, king of Israel, became king in Samaria, and he reigned 41 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord and did not turn away from any of the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. He was the one who restored the thunders of Israel from Lebo Hamas to the Dead Sea, in accordance with the word of the Lord, the God of Israel, spoken through his servant Jonah, after the prophet broke. The Lord had seen and pitied everything in Israel, whether slave or free, suffering. There was no one to help them. Since the Lord had not said we would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, He saved them by the end of the Jeroboam son of Jonas. As for the other events of Jeroboam's reign, all he did and his military achievement, including how he recovered the upper Israel, both Damascus and Hamas, which had belonged to Judah, are they not written in the book of the annals or belong to Judah? They are not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. Jeroboam rested with his ancestors, the king of Israel, and Yehariah, his son, succeeded him as king. Second Kings, the chapter 15, New International Azariah, king of 여기 말하는 in the 27th years of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 16 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 52 years. His mother's name was Egolians. She was from Jerusalem. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Amaziah had done. The high place, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifice and burn incense there. The Lord afflicted the king with leprosy until the day he died, and he lived in a separate house. Joram, the king's son, had charge of the palace and governed the people of the land. As for the other event of Azariah's reign and all he did, they are not written in the book of the other event of Azariah's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah. Azariah rested with his ancestors and was buried near them in the city of David. And Yodam, his son, succeeded him as king. Zechariah, king of Israel. In the 18 years of Azariah, king of Judah, Zechariah, son of Jeroboam, became a king of Israel in Samaria. And he reigned 6 months. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, as his predecessors have done. He did not turn away from the sin of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. Salom, son of Jabez, conspired against Zechariah. He attacked him in front of the people. Sain seized him and succeeded him as king. The other event of Zechariah's reign are written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. So the word of the Lord have spoken to Yehu was fulfilled. Your descendant will sit on the throne of Israel to the fourth generation. Salom, king of Israel. Salom, son of Jabez, became king in the 39 year of Uzziah, king of Judah, and he reigned in Samaria 1 month. Then Manahem, son of Gadi, went from Tiza up to Samaria. He attacked Salum, son of Jabez, in every Samaria, assassinated him and succeeded him as king. The other event of Salom's reign and the conspiracy he led are written in the book of the annals of the king of Israel. At that time, Menahem, starting out from Tirzah, attacked Tipsah and everyone in the city and its vicinities, because they refused to open their gate. He sacked Tipsah and lived over all the pregnant women. Menahem, king of Israel, in the 39 years of Azariah, king of Judah, Menahem, son of Gadi, became king of Israel, and he reigned in some 10 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord during his entire reign. He did not away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. Then poor king of Azariah had made the land, and Menahem gave him 1,000 talents of silver to gain his support and strengthen his own hold on the kingdom. Menahem exacted this money from Israel. Every wealthy person had to contribute to 50 shekels of silver to be given to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria withdrew and stayed in the land of no longer. As for the other event of Menahem's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. Menahem rested with his ancestors, and Pekahiah, his son, succeeded as him. Pekahiah, king of Israel. In the 15th years of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, son of Menahem became king of Israel in Samaria, and he reigned 2 years. Abkanah did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. One of his officials, Pekah, son of Remaliah's conspired against him, taking 50 men of Gilead with him. He assailed Pekah along with Gog, 그렇게 할 것. Gab and Radian in the citadel and of the Lord, of the royal palace of Samaria. So Pekah is killed. Pekah is succeeded him as king. The other event of the Pekanians reign and all he did as written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. Pekah, king of Israel, in the 50 of king of Judah. Pekah, son of Remaliah, became king of Israel. In Samaria and reigning with he did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. In the time of Pekah, king of Israel, Tiglath-Pileser's son, king of Assyria, came and took Lion Abel, Leon, Abel-Beth Makkah, Yanoah, Kedes and Hazor. He took Gilead and Galilee, including all the land of Naphtali, and deported and the people of Assyria. Then Hosi, son of Elah, conspired against Pekah, son of Remaliah. He attacked and assassinated him, and then succeeded him as king in the 20th years of Yodam, son of Uzziah. As for the other event of Pekah's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? Yodam, king of Judah, in the 2nd years of Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel. Yodam, son of Uzziah, king of Judah, began to remain. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 16 years. His mother's name was Erusa, daughters of Sodom. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Uzziah had done. The high places, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifice, and the high place, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifice and burn in license in their Yodam rebuilt the upper gate of the temple of the Lord. As for the other event of Yodam's reign and what he did, and they not written in the book of the annal of the kings of Judah. In those days, the Lord began to send the sins of Aram and Pekah, son of Remain, against Judah. Yodam rested with his ancestors and was buried with them in the city of David. The city of his part, and as his son succeeded in him as king. As king of Judah, chapter 16. In the 17th years of Pekah, son of Remaliah, Ahaz, son of Yodam, king of Judah, began to reign. Ahaz was 20 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 16 years. Unlike David, his father, he did not not all do what was right in the eyes of the Lord his father. David, his father, he did not do what was right in the eyes of the Lord his God. He followed the ways of the kings of Israel and even sacrificed his son in the fire, engaging the detestable practice of the nation. The Lord had driven out before the Israelites. He offered the sacrifice and burned into at the high place on the hilltop and on the every spreading trees. The Rezin, king of Aram, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, marched up to fight against Jerusalem and besieged Ahaz, but they could not overpower him. At that time, Rezin, king of Aram, recovered Elah from Aram by driving out the people. Day. Ahaz sent the messenger to say to Tiglath-Pileser, the king of Assyria, I am your servant, and Pileser came and saved me out of the hand of the king of Aram and of the king of Israel who are attacking me. And Ahaz took the silver and gold found in the temple of the Lord and in the treasuries of the royal palace and sent it as a gift to the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria complied by attacking Damascus and capturing it. The, the king Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria. He saw an altar in Damascus and sent to Uriah the priest a sketch of the altar with detailed plans for each construction. So Uriah the priest built an altar in accordance with all the plans that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus and finished it before King Ahaz returned. When the king came back from Damascus and saw the altar he proceeded and pressed the offering on it. He offered Uriah the priest built an altar in accordance with all the people that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus and finished it before King Ahaz returned. When the king came back from Damascus and saw the altar, he approached and presented offerings only. He offered up his burnt offering and grain offering, poured out his drink offering, and he offered him as burnt offering and grain, poured out his drink offering, and spread as for the bronze altar that as for the bronze altar that stood before the Lord, he brought it from the front of the deep, from between the new altar and the temple of the Lord, and put it into from the front of the temple, from between the new altar and the temple of the Lord, and put it on the north side of the new altar. King Ahaz then gave these orders to Uriah the priest on the large new altar of the morning burnt offering and the even grain offering, the king's burnt offering, and his grain offering and her drink of press on the bronze altar for seeking guide set it on a stone base. He took away the Sabbath canopy that had been built at the temple and removed the royal entryway Ahaz rested with his ancestors and was buried with them in the city of David, and Ahijah son of succeeded in king. Hosea, last king of Israel, chapter 17. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, Hosea, son of Elah, became king of Israel in the Samaria, and he rejoiced 9 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, but not like the kings of Israel who preceded him. Salman continues. Salmanus, king of Assyria, came up to attack Hosea, who had been Salmaneser's vessels and had paid him tribute. But the king of Assyria declared the horses who was a traitor, for he had sent envoys to the king of Egypt, and he no longer paid tribute to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore Salmaneser seized him and put him in prison. The king of Assyria had made the entire land marched against Samaria and laid siege to it for 3 years. In the 19th years of Hosea, the king of Assyria captured Samaria and deported the Israelites to Assyria. He settled them in Haloe in Goljan on the Harbor River and in the town of the Medicine. Israel exiled because of sin. All that took place because the Israelites had sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up out of Egypt from under the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. They worshipped other gods and followed the practice of the nations. Driven out before them, as well as the practice that the kings of Israel had introduced. The Israelites secretly did things above against the Lord their God, who that were not right, from watchtower to fortified city. They built themselves high places in all their towns. They set up sacred stone and Asherah tore on every high hill and on every spreading tree. At every high place they burned incense at the nation whom the Lord had driven out before them had done. They did wicked things that aroused the Lord's anger. To worship the idols through the Lord had sent for you shall not do this. The Lord warned Israel, Judah thought all his prophets and seers. Turn from your evil ways, observe my commands, and decrease in accordance with the entire law that I command your ancestors to obey, and that I deliver to you through my servant the prophets. But they would not listen and were stiff-necked as their ancestors, who did not trust in the Lord their God. They rejected his decrees and the covenant he had made with their ancestors, and the status he had warned them to them. They followed worthless idols and themselves become worthless. They made they eliminated in the nation around them, although the Lord had ordered them to not do as they do. They forsook all the commands of the Lord their God and made for themselves 2 idols cast in the shape of calves. And Asherah, for they bowed down to all the starry hosts, and they worshipped Baal. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire. They practiced divination and sought omens and sold themselves to the evil in Paul and the daughters in the evil in themselves. So the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them from his presence. Only the tribe of Judah was left, and even Judah did not keep the commands of the Lord their God. They followed the practices Israel had introduced. Therefore the Lord rejected all the people of Israel. He afflicted them and gave them into the hands of plunderers until he thrust them from his presence. When he tore Israel away from the house of David, they They made Jeroboam son of the Nebat their kings. Jeroboam entices Israel away from following the Lord and caused them to commit apostasy. The Israelites persisted in all the sins of Jeroboam and did not turn away from them until the Lord removed them from his presence as he had won through all his servants the prophets. So the people of Israel were taken from their homeland into the exile and in Assyria, and they are still there. Samaria resettled. The king of Assyria brought people from Babylon, Kuta, Aba, Hamas, and Sepharvaim, and settled them in the town of Samaria to replace the list that they took over Samaria and lived in its town. When they first lived there, they did not worship the Lord. So he sent lions among them, and they killed some of the people. It was reported to the king of Assyria, the people you deported and resulted in the towns of Samaria do not know what the gods of the country requires. He has sent lions among them, which are killing them off, because the people do not know what he requires. Then the king of Assyria gave this order: have one of the priests you took captive from Samaria go back to live there and teach the people what the good of the land requires. So one of the priests who had been exiled from Samaria, he came to live in Baral and wrote to them how to worship the Lord. Nevertheless, each national group made its own gods in the several towns where they settled, and set them up in the shrines the people of Samaria had made at the high place. The people from Babylon made Sukkot banners. Those from Kuda made Nigan, and those from Hamas and made Ashima. The Abitus did Nibaz and Tarak and the Sepharvatis burned their children in the fire as a sacrifice to Adramelech and Anamelech. And the gods of Sepharvaim, they worshipped the Lord, but they also appointed all sorts of their own people to officiate for them as priests. In the shame of the high priest place according with the customs of the nation from which they had been brought. To this day, they persist in their former practice. They neither worship the Lord nor adhere to the decrees and the regulation, the laws and commands that the Lord gave the descendants of Jacob, whom he named Israel. When the Lord made a covenant with the Israelites, he commanded them to not worship any other gods or bow down to them. Some of them were sacrificed to them, but the Lord who brought you up out of Egypt with might, power, and outstretched him is the one you must worship. To him you shall bow down, and to him offer sacrifice. You must always be careful to keep the decrees and the regulation, the laws and commands he wrote for you. Do not worship other gods. Do not forget the covenant I have made with you, and do not worship other gods. Let us worship the Lord your God. It is he who will deliver you from the hand of all your enemies. They would not listen, however, but persist in their former practices, even while these people were worshipping the Lord. They were serving their idols to this day. Their children and grandchildren continue to do as their ancestors did. Amen.